Things change with time. When I made my video about XCOM Enemy Unknown, I thought I did a pretty decent job, but something was bugging me, a little nagging insecurity in the back of my head that something was just off. And well, now I understand myself better, so it's clear why. Regardless of whether XCOM Enemy Unknown is a good game, I no longer believe it should be celebrated or praised in the way that I suggested. You see, XCOM is an existing property. There were games in the series over a decade before 2012's Enemy Unknown, and they were really something special. They were confusing and hard as nails, and highly flexible. They did a lot more to realistically simulate a battlefield experience by giving you far more control over your soldiers, weaponry, and how you approached, well, every decision. Simplifying things for the 2012 version and streamlining the UI to match was an inevitability, but that still doesn't mean it was the right choice. XCOM Enemy Unknown was a heavily gamified reimagining. The fact that I could pick up and play it so easily without any period of adjustment? That's weird. I don't really play strategy games. There was a very brief period in the late 2000s where I tried out a few turn-based strategy RPGs, but that's as deep as I got. And the whole time I was playing Enemy Unknown, I had this uneasy feeling that I was being pandered to, that I was experiencing a deliberately watered-down take on a beloved classic, because otherwise I might occasionally be confused or challenged. That's not to say XCOM Enemy Unknown wasn't good, or didn't have a great control system or game flow. It is exceptional in many ways, but it's borrowing a name that I'm not certain it has any right to, and atop that, it was very, very normal. I didn't encounter any ideas or mechanics that really pressured or challenged me, even considering I rarely, if ever, engage with this genre. Anyway, the footage you've been watching is one of the earlier missions in XCOM 2 on the PS4. I did not like XCOM 2, and again, it's not like the game is bad, but countless things add up that put me off. Firstly, there are these extremely long loading screens that hit like a brick wall when you start the game up or save or load. You're also treated to a sandwich of advertisements for DLC both before you start the game and in the main menu. I haven't even gotten to experience it yet, and it's asking me if I'd like to invest even more time than I've already promised to. There's also an overly cinematic, action film-styled opening with incredibly wooden acting. It's also stapled to a tutorial that literally forces you to make poor decisions, leading to the loss of life. A better teaching tool would simply be to inform the player of mechanics and let them learn the consequences of their own choices. Teach by experience, celebrate player agency. But as it is, the tutorial may as well be a QTE, which feels particularly bad for a strategy title. The story is also immediately disengaging. We learn that the XCOM team has spent years and countless lives and countless resources trying to find you, the main character from the first game. But why? How are you so important? These guys reek at cost-benefit analysis. I'm sorry, but your butt is not worth the endless searching and sacrifice. They should have just found a new commander. And when they do find you, no one has any problems giving you total authority again. They just step out of the way in reverence, practically shouting, "God be praised, the king lives once again!" Yet, paradoxically, everyone treats you, respectfully, like you have no idea what's going on, and constantly informs you what to do and how to do it, as though you're unfamiliar with all the workings of tactical warfare. This would make sense if you were a new commander, but you aren't. And if the idea is that your brain was addled during the alien captivity, then what kind of commander would you make anyway? It feels like a self-insert fanfiction where the player is the overpowered Mary Sue. The world and characters and writing just aren't any fun to think about, and it's hard to get attached. The core gameplay is like the first game, but you know, with a lot more stuff in it. All the familiar mechanics are here, but more of them, because it's the sequel. Maybe I'm just tired and jaded, but I was slogging through the levels. So much of the game's opening hours feel like a mobile game shoving timers and condescending dialogue at you. I'm sure there is a lot here to get invested in mechanically, but I don't have the stamina to weather most AAA games anymore. I want something far weirder and far more interesting than this. XCOM 2 feels designed to be as generic as possible.